Channel. How's everybody doing this evening? Well, tonight's live stream is going to be on what Trump said at the UN and about Ukraine and about this base in Afghanistan that he wants back and the Dallas ice shooting. I tell you what, take just one day off of doing a live stream and the whole world just falling apart. I mean, I could start doing a live stream twice a day just to keep up on the news that's going on. But anyway, that's what we're going to discuss this evening on the live stream. I want to discuss first about this 3I Atlas, this comet it entered our solar system, and now it has escorts, and now supposedly there's going to be other comets that are going to basically meet it behind the sun so we can't see what's going on. Instead of going in front of the sun, it's going to be behind the sun. It's going to be like intergalactic traffic jam there in a few months. So anyway, all I got to say about that, if it's an alien invasion, and they're actually saying, yeah, we got comets coming in from all directions that are going to kind of like convene behind the sun all at the same time. Well, basic military doctrine. Spread your forces out. And then, go to the point where the battle's supposed to be in different parts, and then come together, congregate all at one time, and attack. So, Pac-Man, I like it. I really enjoy watching your videos. I don't understand, but plugs are nice. But anyway, I'm glad you enjoy watching my videos, my shorts and stuff. But this 3I Atlas, like I say, maybe all their forces are going to be coming together like basic military doctrine. Come in at all angles and then see what happens. Anyway, it's just something that's very interesting. I love it when real smart people have a hard time figuring stuff out. And they're coming up with some wild things that it could be. But anyway, it's from another solar system, so its coma might be a little different, but having nickel without iron, that's strange. Carbon dioxide over water, that could be from where it came from. But anyway, strangeness, right? But most comets don't have refined metals in them. That's one thing for sure. But let's get on with the subject tonight of Trump supporting wars and the Dallas ice shooting, okay? First, okay, Trump had his speech at the UN. Didn't watch it because I knew it was just going to stress me out. Anything these politicians say, I don't care what side of the aisle they're on, it's just a stressful lie and stuff. But then he's coming out and saying that, and then buddy with Zelensky with in front of the cameras. And so now we're supporting Ukraine to get all its land back, plus some maybe, right? Okay, well, the thing is, Russia's been fighting NATO now for how many years? 3 years, right? Yeah, 3.5 years. He's been fighting NATO. They just been using Ukrainian troops. So if he believes in this statement, the only way that we're going to take land from Russia, which that would be an existential threat to Russia, and they would start lobbing nukes, would be with NATO troops, American troops. Okay, that's the only thing that they aren't fighting against. Russia isn't fighting against yet. They're fighting against our intelligence. I mean, if Ukraine had to be on its own, they'd be knocked out of the war already. But, Trump, like you say, he talks like that. Well, if you got kids that are draft ages, hey, bro, how you doing? Can I get a hi? All right. Terminal D. I don't read the chat much, I'll be honest with you, because there's so much going on. And the thing is, the chat, it can get going sometimes. And I get a moderator in here. They have been on their own since World War II. Anyway, Ukraine, well, no, they were part of Russia, Soviet Union. Okay, remember, Ukraine used to have nuclear weapons that they got rid of because there was never going to be any war again after the Soviet Union collapsed, right? This is the thing. After the Soviet Union collapsed, what was the purpose for NATO? All NATO did over from 1992, basically 1994 on, when they said they weren't going to expand, is expand. What was the purpose for NATO after the Warsaw Pact crumbled? We didn't have to have the threat of Russia attacking Europe and us anymore. They had collapsed. But NATO didn't go away, did it? Now we're dealing with what we're dealing with. But yeah, Trump wants us, they're going to get their land back. There's no, I mean, you want to know how Russia fights? Well, Napoleon found out. The Germans found out. I mean, the way Russia fights a war, they haven't even got started going yet. Not even close. And like I say, they've been taking on NATO with the Ukrainian using as a proxy. But, first F-16s, oh, that was the line. Woo! Can't have all the red lines that were crossed. I mean, remember how it started out? We were just given medical supplies. Remember though, back in those days, passing a $40 billion bill, and they'd never need any more money. $40 billion, they had to sit there. What, it'd take them a couple weeks to get that passed? Remember back in those days? If we would have stayed out of it, this war would be over now. The United States wouldn't be $300 billion in debt into this war. Now, this is the thing with Ukraine. If you got a neighbor that can crush you, it all started with the CIA in 2014 and the coup they had in that country. When they had a pro-Russian government, NATO didn't like it. This is all spy versus spy shit that caused this stuff. And then how come how come all these other countries that it don't belong to NATO or the West is against has to endure all this punishment from the West and aren't allowed to stand up for themselves? See, I sound like I'm standing up for the countries that are our enemies. No. Our politicians make enemies so they can sit there and get everybody on the same page and mad at each other. There's my Zaya. Beautiful night out. Tell you why, my Friday night live stream, I'm going to do out here. The camera facing the other way. And I'm going to talk about the 3-eye atlas. And maybe I can see some, I don't know, aerial phenomenon. That's another thing with this Russia thing, right? Remember the drone thing they were having? We were just having 10 months ago in this country, 9 months ago, right? And now they're talking about all these drones that are flying around Europe, the Copenhagen airport and stuff, and they're saying they're Russian drones. Well, I remember our drones that were flying in these skies, didn't they come from an Iranian or a Chinese mothership that was launching these drones and stuff at us? It's a bunch of crap. Anything they're going to use unidentified aerial phenomenon now to start wars. Great country in the world, unstoppable America. Yeah, the thing is, though, but America's been hijacked by a bunch of criminals. Okay? Flat out hijacked by a bunch of criminals. And now, Trump, he talks about war and nuclear war and stuff. He was supposed to be the president of peace, right? That's what I thought. And now this base in Afghanistan that he wants. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, since when does the United States... See, I dealt with this. We did this back in the 80s when I was in the Marine Corps and stuff, and traveled the world, and we go into a country and just do whatever we wanted to do. We were the United States. Just go in and push these countries around. And then after the Cold War, boy, it just got worse. But, we can't be doing that. We can't go into a sovereign nation like Israel and we do and just bomb the hell out of it, kill whoever we want. Since when? I mean, they talk about due process for illegals who really don't have any due process, and we'll just sit there and send a missile up somebody's ass to kill them without any due process, and nobody complains about that. Hey, J99, how's it going? I'm sorry, I haven't been watching the chat. Appreciate you might have a busy night. I don't know. We'll see. Well, I got that. Hey, if you like the content, please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Anything to help this channel grow, because I'm sitting there trying to play with the algorithm. I mean, YouTube came out yesterday and said, yeah, we were, and I'll say conspiring with the Biden administration to cancel channels and silence people and stuff, cancel content creators. Heck, I got one of my channels canceled, and before medical misinformation. But they didn't put out that now they're just doing it for the Trump administration. I mean, I'm sorry, but being a content creator, I can see that they protect Donald Trump just as much as they protect Joe Biden. Just as much. I mean, I can see the shorts that I put out that everybody likes. You want to see a short that you like? Find one that doesn't have any views. Like 20 or under 20, under 30 views. Go check them out. You'll see why they don't ever get put on the feed and they get buried. But don't worry, Trump, our freedom of speech. Anyway, but this war crap has got to stop. There's no way Ukraine's going to recover any ground or have any chance of winning this war if we don't put our troops on the ground. They already got all our equipment. All we got to do is send our guys over there now. I'm sure they got plenty of weapons and everything stored to supply a NATO army already there. Anybody care to disagree with me on that? The thing is, how long do you think a conventional war would last with Russia? The second we sat there and we had troops, if we were able to push them back and go into their actual country, tactical nukes on the battlefield all day long, people. Why wouldn't you? See, the thing is, we don't understand that you fight a war to win it. Back when this Ukraine war started, oh my God, how terrible it was back then. And look at how desensitized we come to. I mean, we'll basically give them anything except nuclear weapons now. And maybe that'll be on the table once too. Remember, it was just medical supplies? And we want to fight a war with Russia, we're going to find out that our cities will burn too. I mean, what do you think would happen in this country if they sent over just a couple missiles with conventional warheads? Not nuclear warheads, just big conventional warheads, and dropped them on, I don't know, a factory, the Boeing plant in Seattle. What do you think would happen in this country? Well, Russia's taking hits every goddamn day to their civilian and their infrastructure and their military. Okay? See, they've already been at war for 3 years. But, this is what Americans want, right? This is the thing everybody wants. Terrorists from Canada being your neighbors is like having China next to you. Well, let's not forget you keep hearing rumors about Chinese troops in Canada. This country would be a lot different if we had Chinese troops in Canada and Russian troops in Mexico. You know how different the mindset in this country would be? Do you think we'd be pushing Russia around like we are if we had Russian troops in Mexico? Do you think they'd be talking tough to China like they are if we had Chinese troops on the northern border? What the hell's Hawaii going to do? They're on their own. Hawaii can't survive what? Maybe a couple weeks without the mainland? This is the world we live in. All you guys people want war and Trump all this tough talk and stuff. Well, maybe it would have been easier to take this base in Afghanistan if we wouldn't have left $84 billion in military equipment there, right? Which I still don't understand. See, when you move as a unit and you go overseas, all your equipment that you use for training wherever in the United States, that's the equipment you take with you. And that's the equipment you come back to the United States with. So my question is, all these units that left their gear and equipment and tanks and helicopters and shit in Afghanistan and just came back to the United States, I don't understand it. Would they come back to the States and get refitted with new stuff? See, being in the military and experience that type of stuff, it doesn't make any sense. How can you leave all those weapons over there? I mean, basically, you get deployed over there, you carry your weapons with you, whether it be your machine guns, your tanks, your M16s, whatever, your grenade launchers, that comes with you. And then when you leave, it comes back with you. How the hell did they get $84 billion in military equipment? I never went on deployment and left any type of equipment in the country I was in, ever. I mean, you were accountable for this stuff. What, these guys just, oh, we're just going to leave our M16s in the armory. Yep, get on the plane. Really? I don't understand the Afghanistan, but then again, nobody got in trouble for it either, right? These people never get in trouble for this shit. Somebody should have to pay that bill. I mean, it's not it's the American citizen that just got ripped off $84 billion that I guess our government felt we didn't need. Anyway, but Trump's sure talking about war. I love a politician. Beta males to the max. And all they do is stand behind tough alpha males and alpha females, people that want to serve their country. And, you know, like Teddy Roosevelt, speak softly and carry a big stick. Well, these people are screaming at with a megaphone, just like the crazy people on the left, and think. Anyway, you know, I know how tough our military used to be. And anyway, crazy talk. That's all I got to say. War talk, war talk, war talk. And like I say, Russia's been fighting NATO for 3 years now, fighting their equipment, fighting their intelligence. You know, just Ukrainian soldiers who are going to be a heck of a lot more experienced combat soldiers than what we got in the military now, our military and NATO. I don't even know what really Europe has for a military. I think, you know, if Poland, you know, they're the ones that seem to have the strongest military. I guess they found out from World War II that being sandwiched between Europe and Soviet Union isn't exactly the best place to be. So anyway, let's get started on this Texas shooter thing. Okay, so now every 70 hours we're having some type of violence from the left. I loved how they came out. It's a white guy. We don't understand what the motivation would be. Okay, don't even say that. If you're in law enforcement, you got 12 years of college, and you got ICE agent, ICE place being shot up, don't tell us you don't know what the motivation is. Just don't say it. It makes you sound ignorant and freaking stupid when the average moron knows what the motivation is. And of course, oh, he's a white guy. You know, they're just looking for that first conservative, mega conservative that's going to lose his mind. See, this is the problem. Mega conservatives, most of us aren't on antipsychotics, aren't on antidepressants, aren't on mood-altering pills, okay? Because we're happy with our lives. We don't need to take that stuff to deal with life, okay? And this is the problem. On the other side, you got them taking it. And then you got the people that are brainwashing them like the politicians that are on TV just screaming the hate, discontent. I mean, these people already don't live in reality. Don't encourage their twilight zone they're living in. And that's what these people are doing. Hey, keep going. Please hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and bell notification. Anything to help the channel grow helps, because the whole world's becoming a very dangerous place. You never know where you can be at. And all of a sudden, shots start ringing out. And then he killed the people that he was supposedly trying to stand up for. Killed one and wounded two. You know, maybe if these people are like Trump, in this censorship we got, all information should be out there, whether you agree with it or not. But if everything gets pushed down people's throats, and then when all of a sudden the status quo changed, we got a different presidency where people don't acknowledge the mental illness, and we're not going to accept it. We're not going to fly the pride flag at the White House no more, that type of stuff. And, these people are losing it. Just like the Weimar Republic people. People moved to the Weimar Republic. What was that? The government Germany had between World War I and World War II, before Hitler took over. Very sick and twisted transgenders crap. If you look at the Weimar Republic, what went on there, and what's going on in this country right now, how the Weimar's decadence and Sodom and Gomorrah lifestyle led to people being so pissed off that they're willing to sit there and put somebody in power that said they were going to put an end to that shit. Sound familiar? Anyway, but yeah. Back to this guy who I heard his name. I really don't care. Some 29-year-old whose whole family sounds mentally confused. But when's this violence going to stop? I mean, is this what these people are? We had to deal with Barack Obama, which was hard. We had to deal with Joe Biden, which is impossible. And now, frankly, we have to deal with Donald Trump, who definitely isn't the same man who was on the campaign trail. So sick and tired. Why should Washington, D.C. be in my life at all? It's supposed to make it so I don't have to worry about government intrusion, that I should be able to pursue my happiness without being interfered by anybody, especially the government. All the hours you put in and work every year to give to the federal government. Every single time they create a regulation or new law, all it does is cost the average taxpayer more money. It doesn't pay to succeed. You get punished. Make enough money just to survive. Become a cash man. I have no debt at all. Believe me, I love that in today's world. No debt at all. My car insurance and my cell phone bill. So, I guess I got my rent, okay? But I live off next to nothing. I live off what is at least a third of what was considered poverty. You can still live that way. And it's a heck of a lot more free and safe, like I say, out here. Where's a shooter going to come at from me here? Where do I have to deal with this? My closest neighbor is 2.5 miles away. Okay? Believe me, if there's something that's out of place here, everybody knows it. You ain't sneaking in here. Anyway, that's why I love it. You people in the city having to deal with this shit, shots ringing out. I mean, that one guy who shot up the wedding, Free Palestine. Why does America have to sit there and accept all this shit? Oh, I know why. Because the government refuses to keep us out of foreign entanglements. And the second you butt into somebody's business, they have a right to butt into your business. And then we invited the shit into this country. Crazy time, people, crazy time. But yeah, they want to pin this. There's some sick people out there. You got to know who your neighbors are. What are trans rights? Exactly. Trans rights. Special rights. Fuck that. We live in the United States of America. You were allowed to do whatever you wanted to 30 years ago. It was just kept in the closet, okay? 40 years ago when I was growing up and stuff. 56, a while ago, okay? Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps, first in the Marine Corps when Reagan was in office, so I go back a ways. But I'm sure we had them back then, but nobody knew about it. Because if you would have came out and said that in public, you'd have got teased. You'd have got ridiculed. It wasn't culturally accepted in this country. And it seemed like we didn't have them shooting places up. Now, did we? It seemed like, J. Edgar Hoover was a cross-dresser. He didn't go out and shoot everybody up. He just, this is one thing they say the FBI is a law enforcement agency. I beg to differ. J. Edgar Hoover is said to know the most about every American. That don't sound like law enforcement. That sounds like intelligence gathering. Right? Anyway, but now they can't. Now they're so stupid. They may collect intelligence, but they're not intelligent enough to understand it. And let's not even go into the Charlie Kirk incident and how that's just, not right. Okay. Wow. Now the miracle bullet. Yep. Magic carpet ride. Are you going to convert to Jewish religion? No. I was in Israel back in 1987. It was a wonderful place. But like our country, that country's been hijacked seriously by criminals, just like our country has, the government has. And it's definitely not the safe. When I was in Israel, the oldest person could walk down the darkest alley in the middle of the night and not have to be afraid of anything. That ain't the Israel of today, is it? Okay? But no, I'm Lutheran. I believe in God and Jesus. Okay? So, but I don't discriminate against religions. The way you want to believe is the way you want to believe. But if you have a religion that feels that you need to kill me because of the way I want to believe, you and I might have a few issues. Okay? Because, not everybody in God's flock turns the other cheek. He needs some of us that don't turn the other cheek too. Anyway, there's departments everywhere, isn't there? But hey, if you like I say, if you like the content, please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Trying to get my channel to grow some. It was beautiful out here. Oh, it's supposed to be nice Friday. Don't miss my live stream Friday. It'll start it's going to be when it's dark. I'll have my fire. It'll be a fireside chat here and stuff. But we'll see what we can see in the skies. The sky used to be full of quite some action, but it's calmed down a bit. So, but anyway. But yeah, we got some mental illness going very astray here. People are angry. And, the people that are saying that, the Republicans, and I'm not standing up for MAGA, but MAGA is not, who in the Democratic Party's been shot at? Was Obama or anybody during his administration shot at? Never. Clinton? Not Clinton himself, but, there may be a few Arkansas issues there. Biden? except Donald Trump. But the right is the violent ones. I don't quite understand. But anyway, Dallas, it must be turned into a liberal city. But, this is another thing. ICE agents are just enforcing the law. That's all they're doing. Doing their jobs, enforcing the law. All these people that don't have a problem with lawbreakers, maybe. But like I say, what'd this guy do? He killed one illegal and wounded two others, who I'm sure will get a free path to citizenship now because of this. But good job. Morons. So we got about, what, 55 more hours? 58 more hours to the next shooting? Yep. It just, what changed in the last 40, 50 years? I mean, Jeepers Creeps, you watch All in the Family, Archie Bunker, right? I got the series. I watched it as a kid. And it's just like we have the same goddamn problems. What they complain about on that show between Meathead and Archie, same shit that's going on now. Crazy time. We never solve any problems. Government never solves a problem. Because if they solved the problem, they wouldn't be able to spend no more money on it. Imagine how much less the government would need for money if we solved our problems. Instead of putting people on welfare, put them to work. 50 million plus foreign workers on visas. About 15 to 20 million illegal workers in this country, and all the workers losing jobs to AI. Yeah, we're all going to need universal basic income because there ain't going to be no jobs for us because, Americans don't want to do them. I've never found a job that was below me enough where I would sit there and take money from my neighbors to make my way. That just is not entitlements. They grow up looking forward to them. I'm not on any side but the side of common sense, still waiting for them quotas. Well, you want to fix their country's problems? Start reading what the follow the rules of this country. I mean, if you don't understand them, all these politicians, the average man like me can read the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and Bill of Rights, and understand them. Okay, and I'm called a patriot. And you got people that go to college for 8 years and they study those documents and still don't understand them. They're called politicians. They go to school for 8 to 12 years, constitutional lawyers. You need to be a lawyer to figure out the Constitution, what it says. No, you need to try to be smarter than the Constitution to screw it over. And when you screw over the Constitution, you're screwing over the American people. Like I say, if you need a college education to try to understand the Constitution, you're dumber than a box of rocks. You don't know what the word "and" means. If you need, they don't know what the phrase "shall not be infringed" means. They don't know what that means. But they can see the word abortion in the Constitution. And they can see the word Obamacare in the Constitution. And like I say, this new budget, they want $40 billion to subsidize Obamacare. I thought Obamacare was a tax. How do you subsidize a tax? That shit's so unconstitutional too, but then again, John Roberts may be compromised, right? So, we're at war, people. See, this is the thing, we're at war. The other side has announced they're at war with us. And slowly but surely, more victims and more victims and more victims. And now they look at themselves, well, they do this and off themselves, well, they're a martyr. I mean, like I say, they've been taking too many pills once a day for too long. Yes, the pharma companies have a lot to do with this. Okay, you listen to old time radio and how they used to advertise cigarettes, and finally the cigarette companies got sued for their shit. Buy 2 new cartons in the Christmas packaging. Yeah, crazy shit like that. And eventually companies think they're immune from prosecution because there was a law passed. That'll all change real quick when we change it again. But that you can't mess with developing brains. It's we're seeing. I mean, they've had the kids on this stuff since the mid '90s when all this ADHD and stupid crap all started. So these people are unstable, and they're being pushed this way. They're believing the craziest shit because they live in their alternate reality, which has been encouraged by these people. I mean, how do you encourage somebody to think they're an animal? How do you encourage a guy to think he can be a woman? Back when I was growing up, if you came out of the closet and started saying that, you were treated. I mean, gender dysphoria. It was a disease. Now it's encouraged. Encouraging mental illness. Where do you think that could possibly go? Just like cancer. If you don't treat it, it spreads and gets worse. Mental illness is the same thing. It spreads and gets worse in an individual, especially when they're told, a mental illness is you don't have one. Everybody else is the one that's sick because they don't believe you or they don't understand you or agree with you. And then we got them. Well, I'm not going to go into the Charlie Kirk thing. A lot of questions about that. But then you got them on roofs shooting people, being snipers and stuff, untrained. Shooting indiscriminately. Snipers shoot at a point target, okay? That means you shoot at a specific point, not an area target where you're shooting at an area of something. Anyway, I don't expect everybody to understand such stuff, but anyway, I tell you what, I'm glad for my experiences. I'm glad for my training. I'm glad I got a leg up for what's coming. Especially when you go overseas and you see all this shit. I mean, how am I not supposed to see what's going on? I saw it back in the 80s. I never thought our country would turn into this. I never thought our country would sit there and just open up the borders and let military-age men in, like I say, that didn't look like the beta males we got in this country. I mean, they were nice, young, strapping lads. Short haircuts, no dependents. Very disciplined looking. So anyway, and this is what we're dealing with. So anyway, appreciate everybody being here. Please hit that thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Anything to help the channel grow. Hey, J99, did you hear me talking about my Friday live stream? I want to do it late. I know you're out there on the East Coast. But like I say, I want to sit out here at night. It's supposed to be another beautiful night. I tell you what, we got some awesome fall weather this year. And point the old camera out to the west. You know what's out in that direction. By my fire and see what all pops up. Because I want to talk about 3i Atlas. This is like, if this is true, this should be the #1 story. What time? About 8 o'clock my time. So it'd be 10 o'clock your time? Maybe you should catch a little nap or something. Because I'm telling you, every once in a while you look off to the west and we got drones flying around now, Europe. Like I say, shoot down the drones, Trump. You should shoot down any Russian, anything they can't identify. So maybe we'll find out what some of these drones are. Since the United States wouldn't shoot these drones down 10 months ago, maybe Russia will start shooting them down, and we'll see what they are. Or Europe will start shooting them down. But anyway, I just can't believe Russia would. I mean, Russia's not going to do this. They test in the waters and stuff. What Russia has seen, if these other drones, that NATO wouldn't do shit and they would have attacked by now. Oh, these guys aren't going to attack. Well, let's send in the attack if they're not going to respond. Anyway, but interesting times, folks. Interesting times. Like I say, take a day off and you got Trump just, we're going to start wars, or Ukraine's going to win this thing. I mean, are they? Anybody who thinks Ukraine can win or win against Russia is delusional. All Russia's learning now is how to defeat all of the United States equipment, because all of NATO's equipment is basic United States equipment, and they're learning how to defeat it. Okay, when time comes, it's gonna be shock and all. Let's just say that. Ain't gonna be no tick for tack crap. It's gonna be flat out we're gonna see how Russia really fights a war, like Napoleon found out and like Hitler found out. Remember, Hitler said all we gotta do is kick in the door and the whole damn thing will collapse. Remember that? It's got to kick in the door and the whole damn filthy thing will collapse. Didn't work out too good for him now, did it? Anyway, you underestimate your enemy, it's just a bad thing to do. Especially when they got the same stuff we got. Russian kids have been getting smarter the last 30 years. Our kids have been getting dumber the last 30 years. Why do you think we became such a military and industrial powerhouse? Because of challenging our children and making our country even better than what we had. You see that going on in this country right now? There's a lot of things that go with war, and America isn't even close to, we can't even handle our own little problems. You want to figure out what war is going to be like if we don't have bombs falling in this country? Listen to some memoirs of people that lived through World War II, especially frontline German memoirs, and see if you want that coming to our country, because I don't think you will. No, see, the thing is, of course, anti-fascist. I'm anti-fascist. Am I also anti-communist? And this is why the left calls everybody a fascist, because the biggest enemy of a communist is a fascist, and the biggest enemy of a fascist is a communist. Throughout history. And that's why all communists call anybody that disagrees with them a fascist. Absolutely, fascism is bad. Nazism is bad. Okay? National Socialism is bad. Communism is bad. Any totalitarian state is bad. Okay? When people are allowed to pursue their happiness, that's when countries grow to be mighty. Okay? Powerful. Because the average citizen was able to do what he wanted, and with his talents made his life in his country better. The story of, this country. But, greed, capitalism and greed, let's not even go there. But anyway, no system is perfect. But all you can do is tweak it and, try to hope that people maintain a morality that keeps your country at least on the straight and narrow. But, like Thomas Jefferson said, the Constitution can only stand with the moral people. Well, the United States is losing its moral high ground more and more every day. Anyway, boy, it is a beautiful evening. Like I say, Friday night, 8 o'clock, we are going to talk about 3i Atlas, UFOs, and leave the Earth behind. Yes, we're going to go off into space and see if we can find some peace and tranquility. Beautiful background, yeah. I tell you what, see? Nice sunset, huh? I should have had the camera the other way, but when I started the live stream, the sun was too much in my eyes. So, yeah, I'm telling you what, I enjoy it out here. I enjoy it out here. Nice little farm place, Panhandle of Nebraska, or my camper. House is up there. Like I say, you can taste, hear and feel freedom out here. But like I say, the trump card with freedom and liberty that everybody has to have is the ability to be independent and take care of yourself. That's when you understand what true freedom is, when you're not dependent on anybody. And like I say, get out of debt. This would be a good time to pay your debt off. I'll try to stay awake for Friday. Love the view. Obama third term. I tell you what, I always say if they're going to run Trump 2028, his running mate's going to be Obama. Because if Trump's allowed to run for a third term, that would mean Obama would. So anyway, and anybody in MAGA wants, Obama for the next 30 years. See, in a constitutional republic, that can't happen. But in a democracy, it can. Because in a democracy, majority can change the rules anytime they want. In a constitutional republic, they got to stick with the rule book. But they don't do that no more anyway. So I hope the hell not. Because this country's already tore up enough. But we'll see if we even make it to the next election. But anyway, everybody have a great evening. Hope you enjoyed the live stream. Hope to see you Friday. Should be a good one. Out by the campfire, and looking off into the west sky. We'll see what we all see. Anyway, this is Tom with the Hidden Truths channel. Everybody have a great night. I'm out of here.